The grand concert hall, with its opulent architecture and ornate decorations, stood as a silent testament to a bygone era. Once the jewel of the city's cultural scene, it now lay in disrepair, its seats covered in faded red velvet, and the chandeliers tarnished with the dust of time. The echoes of thunderous applause and exquisite melodies had long faded, replaced by an eerie stillness that shrouded the empty hall. In the heart of this magnificent but neglected space, there lived a haunting tale of a gifted violinist named Isabella, with raven-black hair that cascaded like a waterfall down her back and striking emerald eyes that seemed to hold the secrets of the universe. Isabella had been a sensation in her time. Her reputation transcended borders, and her name was synonymous with music's truest magic. But what made Isabella even more legendary was the priceless violin she played, an instrument whispered to have been crafted by a master luthier who had sold his soul for unmatched skill. Known as the Serenade, the violin was said to possess a soul of its own, and its music had the power to touch the deepest recesses of the human heart. Isabella's life had been one of soaring highs and profound lows. Her music enchanted the world, but her heart was heavy with the weight of her own ambition. Then came that fateful night when the strings of fate were cruelly plucked, and Isabella's ethereal talent was silenced. She was murdered in a mysterious incident, her body discovered lifeless on the concert hall stage. As the city reeled in shock, the Siren's Serenade disappeared along with her killer, never to be seen again. The authorities were baffled, and a shroud of mystery enveloped the murder, deepening the sorrow of Isabella's untimely end. And so, the grand concert hall, once the site of triumph and jubilation, became a place of haunting melancholy. As the memory of the gifted violinist, Isabella, and the legendary Siren's Serenade lived on in whispers and legends that refused to fade away. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the grand concert hall, a different world came to life. This once majestic venue took on an eerie and desolate air, as if it held its breath in anticipation of something otherworldly. At night, the concert hall transformed into a realm of enigmatic occurrences that left those who dared to venture inside trembling with fear. The grand chandeliers, now dimmed by time and neglect, flickered sporadically, as if struggling to stay alight. Drafts of cold air whispered through the ornate corridors, rattling the aged tapestries and making them dance like ghostly apparitions. But it was the music that truly sent shivers down the spines of any who ventured near. Chilling, haunting melodies, reminiscent of Isabella's once transcendent performances, echoed through the empty halls. It was as though the very walls themselves were weeping for the lost beauty of a bygone era. The stories of these spectral serenades spread throughout the city like wildfire. The city's residents shared hushed tales of experiencing the phantom performances. Some claimed to have heard Isabella's music while passing by the hall, while others, bolder in their curiosity, ventured inside and swore they had seen the ghostly figure of Isabella herself, her raven hair cascading, her emerald eyes burning with intensity as she played the ethereal Siren's Serenade. Those who had encountered the phantom music spoke of a deep and indescribable sorrow that lingered in their hearts long after the haunting notes had ceased. Some were moved to tears, while others were driven to madness, unable to bear the weight of the otherworldly beauty they had witnessed. The concert hall's haunting was no longer a mere legend, but a living, breathing nightmare that tormented the city. A reminder of the tragedy that had befallen the gifted violinist, Isabella, and the priceless Siren's Serenade. Amidst the eerie stories and chilling accounts of the concert hall's nocturnal hauntings, there emerged an unexpected figure, drawn by a peculiar curiosity and a skeptical disposition. Her name was Sarah, a talented but skeptical violinist whose logical mind had always dismissed tales of the supernatural. Sarah was known for her exquisite playing, yet her skepticism was equally renowned among her peers. She had always been a believer in the power of practice and skill, dismissing the idea of otherworldly talent or ghostly apparitions. However, the legends of Isabella and the mysterious music had started to intrigue her, stirring something in her that she couldn't quite explain. It wasn't just the haunting melodies or the phantom performances that captivated Sarah, it was Isabella's tragic story. The more she delved into the history of the gifted violinist, the more she was drawn to the enigmatic allure of the Siren's Serenade. She couldn't help but wonder how such a treasure could vanish into thin air, leaving a void in the world of music. Sarah's fascination with Isabella's tragic story grew into a burning desire to uncover the truth. She decided to become an investigator of sorts, determined to find a rational explanation for the ghostly performances. Her peers and friends warned her against it, telling her that it was a fool's errand to chase after phantoms and legends. But Sarah couldn't be deterred. There was something about this mystery that refused to let her go. Equipped with her violin and a notebook, Sarah set out on a journey to unravel the secrets of the concert hall. She was intent on using her logical mind to solve the puzzle and to bring an end to the ghostly music that haunted the city. Little did she know that her quest would lead her into the heart of an otherworldly enigma, challenging not only her skepticism, but her very understanding of reality itself. With her violin in hand and her determination unwavering, Sarah ventured into the heart of the grand concert hall, where the ghostly performances had echoed for decades. The dark corridors and towering arches seemed to envelop her in a cocoon of history and mystery. It was as if the very walls held the secrets she sought. Sarah's exploration was meticulous. She inspected every nook and cranny of the decaying structure, searching for any hint, any clue that might lead her to the truth about Isabella's murder and the source of the phantom music. Dusty piano keys lay silent in forgotten corners, once vibrant with the touch of long-gone maestros. She ran her fingers along the aged velvet seats, feeling the presence of countless souls who had sat in rapt attention. Her search was not in vain. In the dimly lit archives beneath the concert hall, she stumbled upon a trove of old newspaper articles, dusty records, and forgotten photographs that chronicled Isabella's life and the fateful night of her murder. The newspapers carried headlines that spoke of the city's grief and shock at the loss of a musical prodigy. As Sarah delved deeper into the archives, she unearthed eyewitness accounts and snippets of police reports. Witnesses had heard Isabella's final performance, a haunting lament that seemed to mirror the grief in the hearts of all who listened. But the most startling revelation was the mention of a hidden attic, an attic where Isabella's personal belongings had been stored away, untouched for years. Driven by a newfound sense of purpose, Sarah decided to seek out this hidden attic, a place rumored to hold the very essence of Isabella's life. She followed a creaky, narrow staircase that led her to a forgotten realm, a dusty attic filled with old trunks, yellowed sheet music, and a lifetime of mementos. Among the relics of the past, she discovered Isabella's diaries, letters, and personal belongings. The attic whispered of a life of ambition and sacrifice, love and betrayal. Sarah was now more determined than ever to piece together the puzzle of Isabella's murder and the enigma of the Siren's Serenade. She was convinced that the key to unraveling the haunting music and providing closure to Isabella's restless spirit lay hidden within these long-forgotten artifacts. Sarah carefully opened an old, leather-bound diary she found in the attic. The pages were yellowed with age, and the ink had faded, but the words within were a vivid portal to Isabella's inner world. As she leafed through the pages, she stumbled upon Isabella's entries that chronicled her passion for the violin. The words spoke of a profound connection between Isabella and the Siren's Serenade. Isabella wrote of her late-night sessions with the legendary instrument, her fingers dancing upon the strings, and the music that flowed from her soul. She described the violin as her confidant, the one thing that understood the depths of her heart. Isabella's aspirations were laid bare in the diary. Her dreams of becoming the greatest violinist the world had ever seen, of taking her music to every corner of the globe, and of sharing the profound beauty of the Siren's Serenade with all who would listen. Her words were filled with an unwavering determination and a hunger for success that was palpable, even in their faded state. Yet, as Sarah delved deeper into the diary, she found more than just Isabella's dreams. She discovered entries that hinted at the challenges she faced, the envy of her peers, the rivalry with fellow musicians, and a mysterious benefactor who had taken an unusual interest in her career. Isabella's words painted a picture of a talented artist whose rise to stardom had been fraught with obstacles, some of which were more sinister than others. Certain passages in the diary pointed to potential suspects in Isabella's murder. Sarah pieced together the hints and clues, realizing that the web of deceit and jealousy surrounding Isabella's life was tangled and dark. It seemed that someone had wanted to extinguish her brilliance and take the Siren's Serenade for themselves, a revelation that sent shivers down Sarah's spine. With each revelation from the diary, Sarah's resolve to uncover the truth strengthened. Isabella's passion, her dreams, and the specter of her murderer were now intertwined in a way that made it impossible for Sarah to turn back. She knew that she was on the cusp of solving a decades-old mystery, one that held the key to ending the haunting music that had plagued the concert hall and offering Isabella the justice she so desperately deserved. The night was as dark as Sarah's thoughts were deep, and the chill in the air was matched only by the anticipation in her heart. She had uncovered Isabella's diary, and with it, a Pandora's box of secrets. The stage was set for the most enigmatic chapter of her investigation. One moonless night, as the clock's hands inched towards midnight, Sarah returned to the concert hall. It was an act of determination mingled with a touch of dread, for she knew that her pursuit of the truth was leading her to something beyond the realms of reason. As she stepped into the shadowy hall, the air grew heavy with an expectant hush, and the once-forgotten whispers of ghostly music began to unfurl. She found herself drawn to the stage, where Isabella had met her tragic end. And then, in the faint, ghostly glow of the dimly lit chandeliers, it happened. There, on the stage, the ethereal figure of Isabella materialized. She was dressed in an elegant, ghostly gown, and her raven-black hair cascaded around her like an inky waterfall. With a ghostly violin in hand, Isabella's figure seemed to flicker between this world and the next, a haunting vision of a soul trapped between life and death. As the spectral bow touched the strings of the Siren's Serenade, the notes that filled the air were both haunting and mesmerizing. Isabella's music was an unearthly lament, a mournful cry that reached into the depths of the human soul and pulled at the heartstrings of anyone who dared to listen. It was as if her spirit was channeling the very essence of her tragic existence into the music. Her music, both a cry for justice and a plea for release. Isabella's ghostly presence turned toward Sarah, and with spectral eyes that burned with an intensity that seemed to pierce through the veil between the living and the dead, she communicated without words. In that ghostly gaze, Sarah understood the depths of Isabella's desire for justice, for closure, and for the return of the stolen Siren's Serenade. Sarah, who had been a skeptic of the supernatural, was now a witness to a world beyond her understanding. Her skepticism crumbled before the profound truth that lay before her. She had seen, heard, and felt the spectral presence of Isabella, and the encounter left her with no doubt that Isabella's restless spirit yearned for the resolution that only the living could provide. With this spectral encounter, Sarah's quest for the truth took on new urgency, and her determination to solve the mystery of Isabella's murder and the fate of the priceless violin intensified. Sarah couldn't deny the overwhelming sense of responsibility that had taken root in her heart. The ghostly encounter with Isabella had imprinted upon her a deep commitment to help the troubled soul find peace and justice. Her skepticism had transformed into a relentless pursuit of truth. Determined to uncover the hidden secrets of Isabella's murder, Sarah delved even deeper into her investigation. She retraced the steps of the gifted violinist's life, reaching out to archives, police records, and individuals who had known Isabella. Each piece of evidence she gathered inched her closer to the answers she sought. Sarah's journey was far from easy. She encountered countless challenges and obstacles, from reluctant witnesses who feared speaking out to obscure clues that seemed to lead to dead ends. There were even moments when she felt her own safety threatened, as though some malevolent force sought to keep the truth buried. However, Sarah was unyielding. She was unwavering in her resolve to bring justice to Isabella's memory and to unravel the enigma surrounding the priceless Siren's Serenade. She faced danger with a steely determination and navigated through the labyrinth of deceit that surrounded the gifted violinist's life. As she ventured deeper into the investigation, the echoes of Isabella's haunting music became a constant companion. They served as a haunting reminder of the lingering pain that Isabella's spirit endured, a reminder that urged Sarah to persevere and succeed in her mission. With each new lead, each uncovered piece of the puzzle, Sarah felt herself drawing closer to the truth. The closer she got, the more she understood the magnitude of the forces that conspired against Isabella. She knew that she was treading on a path fraught with peril, but the pursuit of justice for Isabella had become a purpose that she could not forsake. The story was now on the cusp of its climax, as Sarah's relentless pursuit of justice drew her closer to unmasking the killer and bringing Isabella's tortured soul the solace it so desperately craved. The culmination of Sarah's tireless investigation led her to the brink of a shocking revelation, one that would bring her face to face with the truth she had been seeking all along. In a dimly lit room deep within the concert hall, Sarah confronted the murderer, a figure from Isabella's past who had been living in the shadows, hidden by a network of lies and deceit. The confrontation was tense, fraught with the weight of a decades-old crime. The murderer's face contorted with fear and guilt as Sarah revealed the evidence she had gathered, leaving no room for denial. As the truth was laid bare, the murderer confessed to the heinous crime. It was one of Isabella's best friends and colleagues, Mark, who could not bear to keep this dark secret any longer. Every night he would try to sleep, he heard the ghostly Serenade. At first, he thought his mind was playing tricks on him, but after a while, he knew it was his bellowed friend haunting his dreams, making his life a living hell. The motive behind the murder was a twisted combination of envy, greed, and a sinister desire to possess the Siren's Serenade. The priceless violin, which had disappeared for years, was recovered, its exquisite form shining in the dim light. Sarah's unwavering pursuit of justice had borne fruit, and Isabella's stolen violin was returned to its rightful place. It was as if the instrument itself knew it had come home, for the haunting presence that had shrouded the concert hall began to dissipate. With the truth exposed and justice served, Isabella's spirit found solace and peace at last. The tortured soul, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead, could finally move on, leaving behind the haunting echoes of her past. The final phantom performance that had once filled the concert hall with haunting lamentations now took on a different, more serene tone. Isabella's music transformed into a melody of transcendence and closure, a final farewell to the world she had left behind. It was as if the music itself whispered its gratitude to Sarah for her relentless determination and courage. The grand concert hall, once a place of mystery and melancholy, now bore witness to a different kind of magic. The echoes of Isabella's music remained, but they were no longer a source of terror. They were a testament to the power of one woman's determination to seek justice, and the strength of a gifted violinist's spirit finding solace at last. With the haunting of the concert hall finally laid to rest and the long-standing mystery resolved, a sense of closure and resolution permeated the once silent venue. The grand concert hall, which had languished in obscurity for years, began to regain some of its former glory. The tarnished chandeliers were carefully restored, and the faded red velvet seats were replaced with elegant new ones. The echoes of Isabella's music, once haunting, now filled the hall with a sense of serenity, as if the very walls themselves exhaled in relief. Sarah, who had embarked on her journey as a skeptical investigator, had been transformed by her experience. She had not only helped Isabella find peace, but had also uncovered a priceless treasure in the form of the Siren's Serenade. She knew that she couldn't let the legacy of Isabella fade into obscurity once more. With the stolen violin now back in her possession, Sarah made a solemn decision. She chose to continue Isabella's legacy, not only by playing the Siren's Serenade with the same passion and devotion, but by sharing Isabella's story with the world. She wanted to ensure that Isabella's memory and her unmatched talent would be remembered by generations to come. In doing so, she hoped to honor the talented violinist who had touched her heart and forever changed the course of her life. And so, the story of the vengeful violinist and the determined investigator came to a close, leaving behind a legacy of justice, redemption, and the enduring power of music. The grand concert hall, once shrouded in mystery and melancholy, was now a place of beauty and serenity, echoing with the haunting but peaceful notes of Isabella's music, a reminder that even in the face of darkness, the human spirit could find the light of resolution and renewal. That would be the end of our story today. I want to thank you for watching. It means a lot. If you enjoyed the story, feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell to get notified whenever we upload a new story. And with that, have fun and see you in the next one. Bye.